Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new Ninjago video here on the channel. My name is TannerFishies. In today's video, we are going to be discussing one of the more common complaints that I've seen from Ninjago fans following Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 2 Part 2. Now with that being said, like usual, this video will contain spoilers for Dragons Rising Season 2 Part 2. Spoilers are ahead, you have been warned. So following Dragons Rising Season 2 Part 2 and the Tournament of the Sources, I've seen a lot of people point out an inconsistency within the Ninjago storyline involving Lloyd and his elemental powers. Now in the Tournament of the Sources, there is a tradition where if you lose your match, you lose your powers, albeit temporarily, to your opponent, who then would use your powers throughout the rest of their time in the tournament. Now, Lloyd obviously ends up losing during a match in the tournament, thus his powers got removed from him. However, one thing has remained inconsistent, like I said. Lloyd's eyes do not go back to being the usual black after his powers were removed. The reason why Lloyd's eyes are significant is because, all things considered, Lloyd's green eyes are heavily tied to his elemental powers. Not only did we see this back during the Oni trilogy, where whenever Lloyd does not have his elemental powers, his eyes go back to being black. His elemental power is what makes his eyes green. The green eyes themselves, however, can be traced back to the Tommy Andreasen written Ninjago novel known as Way of the Departed, which takes place in between Hands of Time and Sons of Garmadon. The novel documents how ever since the disappearance of Master Wu, Lloyd has been training more heavily in his elemental powers, so much so that his eyes have started to turn green as a result of this increased training with his element. And again, even though this novel can be considered non-canon, I personally consider it to be canon, and this does further tie into the idea that Lloyd's green eyes are a direct result of his elemental power. Therefore, losing his powers in the tournament should have given him the normal black eyes. I could see this being a very obvious overlook, however, this could also just be something that has changed with time. Remember, according to the Ninjago timeline, it has been years since Lloyd's eyes have changed to green. Maybe over time his eyes just permanently changed that color, and they no longer go back to being black as soon as Lloyd loses his elemental powers. Maybe it's just a time thing. It is similar to the idea that the ninja are no longer dependent on Lloyd having his powers either, as that was a very common plot point in seasons like Season 5, where Lloyd lost his powers, therefore the ninja lost their powers. This was, of course, due to the fact that way back in Season 3 of Ninjago, Lloyd gave up the remainder of his golden power to his fellow ninja to restore their elemental powers. So for a while, the ninja's powers were dependent on Lloyd's powers. But starting with Sons of Garmadon, that was no longer applicable because enough time had passed to render that storyline obsolete. Maybe something similar is happening here, where again, the simple passage of time has permanently changed Lloyd's eye color. At the end of the day, I don't really consider this to be that big of a deal, but I have seen a lot of people talk about this and complain about this. Figured I would throw my 2 cents in the ring. I see why people are kind of annoyed by this, but I feel like there is a lot more going on here that Ninjago fans should consider. With that being said though, everybody, that'll pretty much wrap it up for my thoughts here. What do you guys think about all of this? How do you personally feel about this situation? And thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this one, feel free to like and subscribe, do all that fun stuff, and I will talk to you guys again very, very soon. Peace.